Hey everybody, it's Jason and welcome back to my channel. This is the 10th episode in the rebuilding of this 1987 Honda XL600R. The goal for today is to put all these little bits and pieces back onto the frame. I know that I'm missing some stuff, but I also have a few more boxes that I haven't looked through downstairs. So the intention here is to make a list of what I still need. And if I don't have it here, I have to try to start tracking it down. So with all that in mind, let's get to it. Let's take a look at these front foot pegs. So obviously there's a left and a right, and it's fairly obvious which one goes which. There's springs and there's a left and a right as well. So let's just start putting it together. So you take the cleated part, okay, it takes one of these larger washers, and then the spring goes on and goes over that, so that's the wrong side. So this one goes on and over. See how it goes over the peg there? Okay, and then it just slides in like so. Pin goes through, a washer goes on, and then a cotter pin. Now, just before I put this on, I think I'm going to slide just a little bit of grease on it. Not a lot of grease, just to kind of keep it kind of wet, you know. It's not like it moves much, but it does move, and I don't want it to rust together or anything. That goes back in like so. Okay. That way, if you hit something, it bounces up and then bounces back. You don't have to coil this thing around once or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, let's do the same with this other one. Washer. That just protects that rubber from the spring bouncing into it and ripping it to pieces. Okay. Okay. Notice when I put that on, that I put the top of this this pin up here, okay, so that I don't have those two little sharp barbs hanging out to catch a shoelace. Well, you shouldn't be wearing a shoelace, but I just don't like those sharp barbs there, so I put those on the bottom. To reasonable length. Just take them on. Okay, now those are done. Let's take a look at the rear ones. I haven't painted these because I have a feeling I have to do a little bit of a modification to them, but we'll see. So this, okay, is the actual peg. If you can see it, there's a little nib on the inside that has to catch into one of these. It catches into the one on the bottom here, I think. So that goes on like so, and then you've got to just kind of finesse it on. Okay. All right, these work a little bit differently than the front pegs. What happens with these actually is the rubber on the tread is the actual spring for holding it in place. So you put this big washer on, okay? That goes on like that. Now you'll see that there's a kind of a mating little, I don't know what you'd call that, edge to this where it goes on the bike. So this open end is up, and then this kind of angled part goes up. All right, and what you do, you slide the pin in like so, and then this works by the rubber putting tension on that. It goes past that little corner there and it holds it in place. So that one works a little bit loose, but that's okay. The reason they're not painted is because I have a feeling, well, I know that this one here has been modified and isn't working the way it's supposed to. So we're going to take a look at that, all right? So first of all, I see that this is bent. What they had done is they had this in like this, okay? They drilled another hole, and I guess that solved their problem a little bit. But I don't like that, so I'm going to fix it. Okay, and it looks like they also bent this in, so I need to straighten that out right now. I'll just put that in the vise and I'll get that straight. Just give me a couple seconds. Put in the vise, banged it straight. Okay, so this thing again goes up. That goes up. That goes in like so. And then the pin goes in. Until it comes through. And then this. I don't know why they did that. There's no need for it. You know, that catches nice. Lots of pressure there. Maybe it was because it was bent. I don't know. So that works just fine, right? Just like the other side. So what I'm going to do is give these a coat of black paint. Probably put them on tomorrow. Let it dry overnight. And as far as these holes go, might just leave them. They don't really hurt anything. I'll just paint on it. I could fill them with weld, but I'm not even sure that'll look any better. I mean, it's like I say, not a complete restoration. Just to kind of clean up, rebuild. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave those holes painted black. Oh, and that's our foot pegs, all 4 of them done. They just have to be well painted and bolted on. Next day now, so just a little update. I didn't bother filling in those holes. Got that one back together. I wanted to show you a common problem with these foot pegs just before I put this one together. So what happens very often is the holes here elongate and the rubber can't put enough pressure to hold this in place, so this will flap around and vibrate and make all kinds of noise. So there's a few ways to fix that. But one of them's easy and one of them's hard. Number one, you could, weld in the hole there, just fill it in to move it back. See how that one's elongated? Eventually that'll get to the point where this elastic, rubbery kind of system won't work. But by far the easiest thing to do is as long as it's not, right to the edge there and it's, going to break through, is just put another washer on here. Build it out a little bit more and that'll get you your pressure back and that'll take up the slack and it won't bounce around. Let's take a look at the toolkit. I want to say, first of all, this is the first XL600 I've ever had that actually had a toolkit. So this is all kind of unexplored territory for me. The tools themselves, I seem to have all the little bits and pieces. I've cleaned them all up. I'm tempted to try to chrome them, but I don't know if I feel that energetic. I'll just spray them down with some kind of rust inhibitor. The only piece that I'm missing is another one of these bits. This is one of the Phillips, or probably JIS, I guess. I'm missing one of these for the Allen, for these case bolts and whatnot. So I've simply went down into my hoard and found another just regular old Allen key that I'll put in the kit. So that makes the kit complete. The case came out really nicely. I just soaked that in penetrating oil for days and it's blackened up and looks pretty good. There's the door. Honda, I like that kind of detail. The door goes on like so, clips closed, and the hinge was this pin, and it's looking pretty rough, so I got another one. Okay, it bolts on that way, so let's put the pin in that way. Oh, there we go. All right, so there's the door on it. Clips on, clips off. Beauty. Okay, and then when it bolts onto the bike, these special little, let's go in like so. Okay, what I'm going to do with those is throw them into some evapor rust, clean them up a little bit, maybe give them a little black paint before I put it on the bike. And that's the toolkit, so I can do that. I can take this and hopefully, hopefully it all fits in there. And yeah, everything is got that HM Honda motorcycle, I guess, or Honda something. HM Honda motorcycle I'm going to go with. If you can tell me different, well, I'd love to hear about it. Probably throw a spark plug in there for safety. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I've never had a bike, or I never had an XL600 anyway, with a nice toolkit. All right, so this is the chain guide that sits on the inside of the frame. Just protects the frame from the chain flapping around too much. Okay, I degreased it and just painted that metal to clean it up a little bit. Okay, so that bolt clips onto the frame and then holds it in place. So it's a little assembly. I'll take care of that now, and then I'll just bolt it on later. It's in good shape. All right, I think I'm going to do her one side at a time. So I'll start with these rear foot pegs. So you know, we've already talked about them. Let me give you a couple of little pointers on the foot pegs. I like to keep it so that the rivet head faces up. It just looks nicer. And then when this thing kicks down, the tread, see, it's on an angle, so you can't figure this out maybe when you're putting it together. The tread faces up. You could theoretically get this 90 degrees out of phase, but that's the way it's supposed to go on. Okay. I don't know what the torque value is, but hand tight is good. Okay, so there's that. So there's the little guard that goes right here. It's a little protective thing so that when the passenger has their foot on there, their pant leg or shoelaces or whatever don't get caught up in the rear tire. So that's one part I have to track down. I might have one downstairs, but I think it's broken if I do have it. So that's something I might be on the lookout for. There's a lot of stuff right in this little area we can talk about. This is for the rear brake pedal. It pivots on this. I'm not going to get into the rear brakes at all right now. Like I said, I just want to attach stuff to the frame. I want to make sure all the threads are good. And, all right, now I've talked about this before, but I'll mention it again because it's important. This is the lever for the decompression system that runs off of the kickstart. Okay, it won't be reconnected unless you really keep an eye on this and keep it adjusted pretty much perfectly. You run the risk of it A, not working, and B, overworking. So if you're not careful, the decompression can kind of be stuck on and keep your exhaust valve open just a little bit, and that is a big problem for your engine. It will overheat and cause you all kinds of trouble. So I don't touch that. I just leave it there. You have to put the lever back in because part of the mechanism on the inside is important to, I believe, when the kickstart returns going to the right spot. I think it's part of that system. I could be wrong, but it plays a vital role in the kickstarting system, so you can't take it out. Okay, the kickstart lever just slides on the spline. Now, see there, it won't fit. Okay, it's bouncing against the case, so that's the wrong position, so just move it back one tooth, okay, so that it fits back in nice right in there. Then there's just a single bolt. Hold it in at the bottom. Awesome. This piece here, nobody's going to know what this is because I've actually custom made it. What it is I have a service stand that can go underneath this bike, like the big lever, so I can slip it in, pull it up, and it will hold the bike straight up and down. I'll have to show you that in a later video, unless I have a picture somewhere. I might. So it's sort of an accessory that I've made to make servicing the bike a lot easier. Okay, so I've designed it so that it goes in between the foot peg, all right, and the frame. Okay. Here's the first bolt. Here's the second one. Nice and tight. Awesome. Okay, moving around to the front of the bike, we've got a couple little pieces. This is actually one of the oil drain plugs. It does double duty. This here is where the aluminum shroud that covers the bottom of the engine also mounts. Got a brand new copper washer on there. Just goes in here. Okay. And then this is also part of the oil system. This is, I can't remember if it's, so this must be the return line, I guess, that goes back up to the dry sump. And it goes in the bottom like so. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put the oil lines on in another video when I connect all the stuff to the engine. Also the electrical, I'm going to do all that in another video. So moving over to the left side of the bike, might as well put the sprocket on. This is the one that was on it, and it's in really nice shape. You know, the teeth aren't worn too bad at all. So it simply goes on like so. The little lock ring goes on. Like that, and then you put then these two 6mm bolts hold it in place. Again, I might end up taking this off again later to put the chain on, although I doubt it. But I really just want to account for everything right now. I've got everything kind of spread around in boxes, and this has been going on for a few months, and things are getting a little bit out of hand here. So I'd like to get it all kind of figured out. Put on this shift lever. The height's kind of a personal preference. Some people like it higher, some people like it lower. Just put it on right there for right now. And if I want to adjust it, I can adjust it later. All right, there we go, nice and tight. Cool. Okay, now for the foot peg on this side. Once again, I've got this little unit here for my service stand. Okay, it only goes on one way. This side, the two mounts are actually at different levels, at different heights, so you have to make sure you get that right. Tighten these down. I'll probably hit these up with the torque gun just a little bit later, but for right now, let's just get it on the frame. Okay, good. All right, remember that chain guide that I cleaned up a little earlier? It goes right in here. So it just slides in a little bit tight like that. Okay. And then this bolt just goes right through and attaches and holds it tight. Now, after you paint things, a lot of the threads get filled up with paint, so they're a little bit stiff, but I think it's okay. This is the chain guard. Now, I'm not going to bolt it on right now. I just want to show you that I have it. Okay, so it goes into position like that. This is not the greatest one that I've ever owned. This top part here is a little bit mangled, but I think it's salvageable. That being said, I am sort of on the lookout for a better one, but if need be, I can make this one work. Kickstand, okay, nice chrome one. Not used to being so fancy. Okay, goes on like that. Try to line it up. It threads into the back part of this thing. These all get bent in time and cause all kinds of trouble, but generally, once you get it started, you'll be in good shape. 17mm wrench. Now, you don't want to tighten this too much or it might not move. And the last thing is to put this spring back on. The other rear foot peg. Right, good. Once again, you want to make sure that the treads are facing up when it's in position. Back of the swing arm at the bottom goes this chain guard. Okay, it's got these little sleeves. I painted them nice and Nice and clean. Nice. Okay, now here are two key pieces that I'm missing. Number one, I don't have the upper chain guard that, you know, the long one that comes across the top. And I also don't have a decent cover for the swing arm. Now, these things here are really, they're always broken on these bikes. I've never seen a good one. So I often just replace it with a piece of rubber, and that's probably what I'm gonna do with this, but I just kind of have it in the back of my mind that I might have a good one downstairs. So I'm just gonna leave that for now. And I also have several other chain guards for different bikes that I might be able to kind of fit into there until I find a good one. I'm going to be pretty clear here. If I do something like that, it's a temporary thing until I can find a better piece, you know, swap meets and eBay and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to leave those for now. They're not mission critical to getting the bike run. And they shouldn't be too hard to find, but, you know, it'll take some time. Okay, got my toolkit. Got those two washers in that I was talking about earlier. And I've got some brand new stainless steel 6mm bolts to hold them in place. Not sure what this little notch is for. It's almost like there's an elastic band or something that goes on here to keep it from popping open as you're driving around, which is something I am kind of worried about. So if anybody knows, maybe drop me a comment on that, okay? So yeah, there it is. The first time I've ever had a complete toolbox on one of these bikes. That looks neat. I like it. To tell you the truth, so I might either have to hunt those down or go aftermarket. There, it's in place. I'm not sure if the aftermarket systems use these or not, but whatever the case, they come out just as easy as they go in. I've got them, I'll put them in, and we'll worry about it later. So I haven't got an air filter yet, but I'm just going to show you that I've got everything here. I've got the little seal that goes around, okay, and I've got a half decent cover. All right, so I just have to hunt down the some fasteners and an air filter. I'm kind of making a list together of things I need, but I've got that, so I don't have to worry about it. Just keep it in there for right now. Another one of those plastic grommets. So we'll just slide it into place, like so. Good. And it's nice and supple. I soaked them in penetrating oil actually for probably a week, and that seems to bring rubber back. You know, I don't know if it's good for it and if it'll last long, but it does bring it back to the point where they can at least install it. Okay, these are the little rubber grommets that the seat sits on, and the bolt passes through to lock it in place. The silicone lube on there makes rubber a lot more slippery and friendly to deal with. See if we can get that back into place. Try not to push on this with any tools because you'll end up slicing it up. There we go. Perfect. And there's this little cap that goes in like that. So this one's a little ripped up, right? If I can't get another one of these, what I'll do is I will put it in place and just silicone it down tight. I mean, all the pressure is down on it. There's no upward or side to side really. So it just has to sit there. I'd probably end up doing that anyway, to be honest with you. But let me see if I can get another one. Back around to this side. I've got one more of these grommets to put in. I am one short of these grommets. I know that they're available and they're not that expensive, but I also know that I've got a bag full of them downstairs somewhere. So we'll just get it installed right on, and I'll see what I can find. And then the next thing we're going to worry about is this battery hold down clamp mechanism. Okay, so I cleaned it all up, painted it. It's got some rubber pieces I gotta put back on. For right now, I'm just gonna put it in place just so I know where it is, more or less. Take that off, put that on, think I'm going to replace that crappy ugly thing with a nice stainless steel one. Alright, these are the tank mounts. They just fit on these little nubs here. Now, I've never really understood if I was missing parts or what, but I've always found these things to be rather loose. And I don't really much care for them being loose because they fall off at the worst possible times. So what I do is I put a generous amount of RTV on there. And then I put a bunch on the back too, so I just glue it. I just glue it to the bike, right? Like, and then once that cures, that's never going to come off. So my plan is to do this whole steering column, handlebars, everything in one great big video, but for right now, I just want to bolt these little pieces onto it so that I know where they are and I know that I have everything. Okay, and there's these. Okay, well that's going to be it for this week's video. Got a lot of stuff put back on the bike. Got some questions that I have to answer, some parts I have to find, but that's okay. That's kind of the fun of it. So I really thank you for watching, and if you haven't done so already, I would ask that you please subscribe, and I'll try to have something for you next week. Okay, take care.